Better with Age. I'm your host, Lauren Lingell. On today's episode, we are going to cover a topic that has been a trend nationwide over the last several years. It is the issue of seniors choosing to remain in the workforce beyond their retirement age. This choice could be for many different reasons, possibly financial, as healthcare costs continue to rise and the cost of living gradually gets more and more expensive, or seniors want to remain in the workforce and feel productive. Some seniors may even be looking to reinvent themselves in their twilight years by taking on that hobby job they have always wanted to do. Whatever the reason may be, re-entering the workforce can certainly be a difficult process that may require specialized education, training, or experience. But fear not, because AARP Foundation is to the rescue. Today we have Sandy Swanson from the AARP Foundation to talk about some of the training opportunities they have that are specifically geared toward seniors. Sandy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So, Sandy, what is your role with the AARP Foundation?
I represent AARP Foundation Senior Community Service Employment Program. Now that's a huge mouthful.
I'm glad you had to say it.
And we refer to it as the SCSEP program.
Okay.
Or sometimes we call it CSEP.
And that program is one of many that the foundation provides to seniors.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about, oh my gosh, I can't say it, the Senior Community Service Employment Program.
Yes.
So what is the purpose of that program?
Well, let me give a little bit of history
Sure,
first.
absolutely.
The Senior Community Service the Senior Community Service Employment Program is funded by the United States Department of Labor and has been since 1965. It was started through the Older Americans Act of 1965.
Okay.
AARP Foundation has been a grantee for 40 plus years. There are many other organizations in the United States that receive grants from the United States Department of Labor, but AARP Foundation is the largest.
Okay.
And my office covers Polk, Highlands, and Hardy counties.
So you are our local branch of the Senior Community Service Employment Program.
Yes.
I'm going to get this right before it's over with. So what does this program do? How is this helpful?
The program focuses on people who are 55 and older, low income, which is 125% of the federal poverty level or less, unemployed, and they are actively trying to get back into the workplace.
Why would someone want to get back into the workplace? I mean, I can look at that and say, well, that makes sense, but what are some of their motivations for wanting to get back into the workplace?
Low income,
basically.
Needing additional income to survive.
So that's what you see most of?
Yes, and that's part of the criteria for our program. They have to meet that low income level. A lot of people are living on Social Security of $700 a month, some at $800 a month, and they just can't make it. They may be 63 years old, but they were forced to take early retirement from Social Security at 62.
Right. So to give our viewers an idea, 100% of the federal poverty level is somewhere around like $14,000 a year?
125% of the federal poverty level for a family of one is somewhere around $15,000.
Okay, so $15,000 a year,
or less.
And I think if some of us think of our normal spending routines and things like that, we far exceed that in a year. So for folks to live on that for a whole 12 months is
very difficult.
Very difficult.
Very, very difficult. We have people who come to our program for a variety of reasons, Lauren. We've had a PhD who was sleeping in her car.
Oh my goodness.
Because of a family situation that she had to leave her job and take care of a family member. We have somebody else with a master's degree who was an IT person, but he was out of work for 5 years because of an illness, and now he can't get back into that field. We have people with high school degrees and maybe they have worked in a warehouse for many years. They're not quite able to do that type of work anymore. Once people reach 55, unfortunately, our bodies talk to us in a different way than what they used to.
And let's be honest, the workforce looks at you differently too.
It does. It absolutely does. The Senior Community Service Program is pretty much like a three-legged stool. We have participants, we have host agencies, and then we have employers. Host agencies are nonprofits and government entities who agree to provide training to participants. A lot of agencies may consider them a volunteer, but they're really getting training for 20 hours a week, and we pay them minimum wage. So they're getting $160 a week that they didn't have before, and for some people that's the only income they have.
And is that training sort of on the way to something else?
That training is on the way to what we call an unsubsidized employment, for them to get a, quote, real job.
For like an independent employment opportunity.
A lot of our host agencies hire our participants. They may have been there 4 months, they may have been there 13 months, and they have an opening. Well, they've just trained this person for that period of time. So that's going to be the first person they hire. Other times when a participant is in the program, they have a requirement of applying for a certain number of jobs every month. And hopefully they're very successful in that.
Is there anything that precludes an individual who's 55 and over who meets the income criteria from actually getting into this program?
The factors there would be, do we have availability for that person to come into the program? Do we have a training assignment that would be appropriate for that person? We have to ask ourselves and the participant, how can we help you? Somebody wanted to be trained in IT work. Well, that's not something we can do. Somebody else had been a mechanic and they were having difficulty finding a job and wanted to come in the program. He was skilled, he had all the certifications that he needed, and that was not something we could help with. We can help with additional training. We frequently will send people to school to be a home health aide or a CNA. We have sent many people to security guard school. That is a job sector that seems to like to hire our mature workers, and they do exceedingly well there.
What are some of the other areas? You mentioned security, and you mentioned
CNA and home health aides.
There we go. I'm losing it too. You mentioned those areas. Are there any other areas beyond that you do try to find placement in?
We could, if we did a book on all the different things we could do, it would be quite thick. So we look at each person individually. We develop what's called an individual employment plan for them. And that really consists of knowing what type of job they're looking for, what they need to do to get that type of employment, and what we can do to help them.
So if someone just called you and got an appointment and came to see you and said, I just know that I need a job and I'm open to many things, can you help me? That would be kind of like an ideal situation for you.
Well, it's really not, because that person has to be more specific. We have to know what type of job they're trying to get.
So it's very helpful for them to come in with an idea.
Yes. Another example would be somebody who used to work in the clerical field. They've been out for 10 years. Maybe their spouse died, lost some income, and they have to get back to work. They have to get a job. Well, they don't have the computer skills they need in order to get back into that workplace. So we then can send them to various schools and various trainings to get an update in, say, Microsoft Word 13 or Access 13 or even Excel.
So in a lot of cases, it's about, so you haven't touched this subject or this field for 10 years and, okay, well, let's get you up to speed and then you'll be ready to
Yes.
go. Okay, very, very interesting. How many people can be enrolled at once, or is there a limit to how many people that you can onboard in this program?
Yes, there is. We have what's called a slot limit of close to 100 people for Polk, Highlands, and Hardy counties. But as somebody comes into the program, we want somebody to leave the program.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
So if we have people leave, if we have 5 people leave for a job in a month, then we can bring 5 more people in.
Sure.
And that's the perfect situation. Our goal is an exit from the program for employment.
And the max that a person can be in the program
is 48 months
48
in their
months.
lifetime.
In their lifetime.
This is measured by the United States Department of Labor. Someone could have been in Arizona for 18 months, and then they could be in North Carolina for 6 months, and then they could move to Florida. And that's all well and good, but it's still 48 months in their lifetime that they can be in the program.
Okay.
We don't like to see anybody stay that amount of time.
Right.
Because it means either they're not doing what they need to be doing or we're not doing what we need to do.
So how do people find you? How do they get in touch with you if they'd like to explore this opportunity?
They can call us at our Lakeland office, which is 863-499-1290. And
is there a website where they can find more information?
no, not specifically for this office.
Okay.
But all they have to do is call our office, and we will go through a series of questions with them and help determine whether they're appropriate, whether they're eligible for the program, and then start the process.
If they are not a good match for your program, do you refer them to other programs within the foundation?
Absolutely. Either within the foundation or within the community.
Okay.
We work very closely with Career Source Polk, Career Source Highlands in the southern areas, and they provide some additional training. We will help people in conjunction with Career Source. We'll help them improve their resume, mock interviews, job search skills.
So really to get them back in that employment atmosphere.
Yes, the job application process has changed considerably over the years. You can no longer walk in someplace and say, I'd like to put in an application or talk to somebody about a job. They say, go to our website.
Or go to that computer over there.
And a lot of our program applicants and participants either don't have a computer or they don't have internet access.
So before we end, because we're almost out of time, do you have a success story that you'd like to share with us?
Absolutely.
Okay,
have
great.
quite a few success stories. One of my favorite recent ones is a lady who came to us, and she was about 58 years old. And she had recently gotten a divorce, had no income whatsoever, and needed to get back into the workplace. During her married life, she had not worked very much. She was a mother. She was a stay-at-home mom. And we sent her to school to be a CNA. We improved some of her computer skills, and she was hired full-time at $10 an hour, and she's just ecstatic.
I mean,
It's a great, great success story, and that's what we're always going for.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't imagine, not having worked for that long, not in a traditional place of employment, because as you know, being a mom's hard work.
Yes, it is. It's a full-time job.
But to have that, I mean, that's got to feel good.
Yes.
Great work.
And it's very rewarding to us to see people come in very desperate situations and then leave as a success story, with people who have been living in their cars or living under a bridge. And everybody has a story. Everybody has a story that's gotten them to where they are now. It might be the death of a spouse. It might be a severe illness. But we're able to help get them back on their feet again.
Well, Sandy, I'm so glad you came in. I'm so glad you shared with us, and hopefully we'll help some people find you, and you can help them.
I hope so. I look forward to hearing from the audience out there.
All right.
And we are always looking for employers who value the mature worker.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Better with Age.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke.
I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast.
F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911.
Protect the ones you love.
Spot a stroke fast.
When I got out of college, I got an engineering degree, and I got a master's degree in engineering, and then I went to work for a big company in New York City, and they were in the mining and minerals business worldwide, and so I traveled quite a bit, places like Australia and Africa, several countries in Africa, Europe, Japan, Korea, places like that. So it was pretty interesting for a young man to do that. And you gradually work your way up in a corporation to various levels of management. And one of those levels brought me down here in Florida in 1980. That's when I first moved here, and the company I worked for at the time bought a phosphate operation down here. And so I was in a management role. I worked for this company for 6 years, and then they ran into some financial difficulty, and they wound up selling the business that I came down here to run, or to manage, help manage. Let me put it that way. I wasn't the top guy, I was number 2 guy, basically. But so I had to try to look around. So I looked around for other work, and the job market at that time wasn't that great. So I said, I got to make some money in the meantime. So there were some things that I was interested in doing my own thing. And so we started K Technologies in 1987. At the same time, I started my own consulting business, a different company called Tebco Associates. And with K-Tech, we started that business, and we had a goal, and we got a couple of people involved in it. At that time, my partner, who's with me now, he came aboard. We started this specialized technology business. I won't get into too much of that now, but it was an up and down affair for a while, and then we kind of went off and did our own thing when the business didn't seem to be able to produce very well. And in the early or mid 90s, I became involved with Big Brothers Big Sister as on the board of directors of their local group here in Polk County. They had a separate board at that time. And I was a member of that board for several years. So I became affiliated and knowledgeable about the organization. And their goal is to help, disadvantaged children get them some adult supervision and hopefully guide them in ways that can enhance their lifestyle, make them a more productive citizen in the future. And you can start off being a big brother or a big sister or a big couple, as we were. My wife Jerry and I were a big couple to this young man by the name of Duche Ware. We started in 2007. My wife is childless. She doesn't have any children of her own. I have 2 sons, both of which are grown up and off on their own today. So they haven't lived at home for many, many years. And in fact, Jerry's my second wife. They actually lived with my first wife. Well, I would see them on weekends and, holidays and during the summer and that sort of thing. So neither one of us really had a sort of a standard type of home relationship with children. And I thought that, with this relationship that we had with Duche, that sort of substituted a little bit for that. So it gave us a lot of enthusiasm and impetus to try to take this young man under our wings and try to help him get ahead and see a side of life that maybe he didn't see before. And we did a lot of things together. We talk about schoolwork. We go over his schoolwork. We helping with applications or things of this nature. We go places, go out to dinner, go to theme parks, go to ball games, play ball. We played a lot of basketball and football together, you know, quite a bit, and because I was always athletic, and he was athletic. Actually, he ran track and wrestled in high school, and at McKeel, and you know, so it was a sort of a bonding thing that grew over time as he got older. And he was very shy at first. He was at that time in the 5th grade, so I think he was 9 years old or something like that then, or maybe 10, and you know, he became a part of our family basically over the ensuing years, and we were together all the way through to when he graduated from high school, where he went to McKeel Academy and he graduated with honors, you know, the 4.4 average or something like that. I mean, the Big Brothers Big Sister guideline says you're supposed to spend 9 hours a month with the child. Well, we spent probably 3 times that amount, maybe more, on average. Sometimes it would be more, sometimes less, but you know, I'd say on average we'd see Duche at least once a week, probably sometimes twice a week. Go take him somewhere, you know, take him to some events that he had that he needed to go to and attend them and things of that nature. So, you know, it's somewhat of an imposition on us, our time, because it doesn't allow us to do the things we might normally do from an entertainment standpoint or things of that nature, but it was worthwhile. You know, it gives you satisfaction in another direction. So that's kind of the way we looked at it. And after he graduated from high school, he attended University of South Florida on a scholarship. And he started out as an engineering major like I am. I think he kind of took after what I did. And he went through 2 years of that program and decided that engineering wasn't quite the thing he wanted. He wanted to get more into business. He's got a lot of entrepreneurial skills. He just started his own website. He's selling things on his website and stuff like that. We still see him. He was over for dinner the other night. You know, we caught up on everything, and we see him about once every month or 2 months, something like that. And, you know, he still considers us part of his family, you know, and just comes in the house and takes over, basically. So there's a lot of rewards because you feel like you're doing something to help somebody, and that ordinarily have that chance, maybe.
Welcome back. You're watching Better with Age. I'm your host, Lauren Lingill, and today I'm talking with Shellena Orr, who is going to tell us a little bit more about breast cancer, prevention, awareness, and the whole gamut. Shellena, why don't you tell our viewers, you know, what it is that you do? Obviously, we're standing in a room with some machinery, so.
Yes, I do mammography. We do 3D mammography on our mobile unit.
Obviously, breast cancer research, awareness, and prevention has grown quite a bit as we're standing in a mobile unit with a full-on mammography device, and you know, you no longer have to go to that. Tell us a little bit about how that has changed the game of prevention.
Well, it's more convenient, and we as women know if it's convenient, we'll do it. Mm-hmm. And so we go to your place of employment, and the women come out on their breaks, or some places even allow their employees to go out from work and don't make them clock out or take any vacation time, so they just get to come out and get their mammogram. It's convenient, and they go right back to work.
Okay, so let's really jump into it. This idea of prevention, how early should we as women be having mammograms?
Well, you should get your first screening mammogram at age 40, mm-hmm. and then every year after age 40 for the rest of your life.
But some women think that they can wait till 50.
No, 40.
Okay.
At the age of 40. Okay. If you have a problem before then, you have to go see your doctor, and then they'll order the appropriate test for you.
What about after 50? Is that something that you want? You're just going to continue doing that until... Even more so. You need to, the older you get, the more important it is for you to have a mammogram. You know, we're standing here, and this is just like the type of device that most people would find if they drove to their doctor's office and and had their mammogram. But this is a 3D, what is this machine called?
This is a 3D mammography machine.
Okay.
So what it does is the old machines are just 2D. They just take, you know, a 2D image, one image. This one takes several images, and it's like slices. And the slices, the radiologist, when he puts it up on his screen, he can look through each slice and look through the breast instead of just one image with everything piled on top of it.
So you get a lot more definition, and there's a lot, it's more effective in identifying potential.
And they can see cancers, smaller cancers, sooner.
How does getting a mammogram on a 3D mammography machine differ from, say, a 2D? Or is it all the same?
It's all the same. There's no difference. It's the same 4 pictures. So everything happens within the computer and on the radiologist reading station. So they come in, they get the 4 images, and everything else is taken care of by computer.
So do you have any, do you see women who are really reluctant to come in?
Yes.
Tell me about, you know, why they're so reluctant, and are they scared? Like, what's going on?
There's a lot of reasons. One reason is because other women have told them that this is awful, you know, that it's painful, it's horrible, they hate it, so women won't come because they're afraid of what's going to happen.
Right.
Of the unknown, because somebody's already fed them false information. Then I find out when they come in here, after they're finished, they're always like, that was it?
Right. The thought is always, it causes more fear than the actual
Exactly.
event.
And a lot of ladies who wait and don't come, like if a lady gets her first mammogram at 50, they're really scared because they know they should have been here and they've waited too long. So a lot of times that's a lot of their fear too.
But it really, you know, from a standpoint of prevention and detection, it's never too late to come in and get everything looked at and start somewhere, because that baseline is nice to have for doctors.
Yes, and a lot of ladies don't realize their images. They come in and they can't remember where their last mammogram was done at. They don't want us to get their last mammogram, but those images are so important to have them compared year after year after year in case there's the slightest little bit of change. It can be caught that early.
What about women who have breast augmentations or cosmetic surgery? Is the setup still the same as far as the exam itself goes?
There's a few more images that we have to take if you have implants, but they're basically the same. Instead of getting 4 pictures taken, we take 8 because there's some other certain things that we have to do with implants.
Sure, there's maybe a few other risks and different angles.
Right, so we can see the tissue well.
Absolutely, but it's pretty much the same process and usually just as painless.
Yes.
What can we say to those women out there who are actually getting close to 40, or maybe they are a little past 40 and they really need to get out here? So what would you say to them?
They need to call their doctor.
Okay.
And tell their doctor that they want to have a mammogram done, and their doctor should order it for them without any problem. And another thing women don't realize is most insurance companies pay 100% for a screening mammogram. So it's no out-of-pocket expense to them to have a screening mammogram done once a year.
Absolutely, because it's considered prevention.
Correct.
That's a great point. So just, I guess we ladies have to get over ourselves and start taking initiative and really monitoring our health and getting to the doctor.
Correct.
Shellena, it has been so nice talking with you. It's great to know that the most important thing for us, whether it's a doctor's office, whether it's a mobile unit, whatever it is, just make the call, get in touch with your insurance company, and get out there.
Yeah, and if it's a business or a club affiliation, we'll come straight to your place of work and get your ladies' mammograms done.
All right. Well, we'll let people know how to get in touch with Tampa Bay Mobile Mammography if they'd like to have the mammography unit come out to them. So,
okay.
Anyway, thanks for talking with me.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thanks for watching Better with Age. We'll see you next time.